Okay, and we're back with Ivan Teller. Ivan, thank you for taking your time to speak with us this evening.
Oh, thank you for having me on.
And Ivan, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, and around the end of 2014, I got interested in connecting to extraterrestrials, psychically, connecting to their energies, and a little bit down the road, just started looking into this a little bit more, connecting psychically, and I was pushed towards, you could say, not exactly pushed, but directed towards channeling on my own. So I gave it a shot and it worked without any teaching or anything like that. So I just recorded everything that I did and put on YouTube basically. And I joined other alien online communities and been channeling. First it was the Zeta Greys, it was Anunnaki, there's been Pleiadians, pretty much everybody, as far as I know, and spirits on the other side also.
That
So
is
it's
amazing.
yeah.
Ivan, could you, you mentioned that you've been interested in channeling in extraterrestrials since 2014. Could you please tell us what the spark was? What was the spark that ignited the fire in your interest in extraterrestrial beings?
Well, it was how did it kind of happened that I was at work. I was minding my own business, and I have like a spiritual message came to me to look up reptilian channeling. So
Huh.
I looked it up on YouTube. That was for my guide, and looked up on YouTube. I found Human Colony. I found Jim Charles. Human Colony is a website on YouTube. They channel extraterrestrials, and in the video I found them channeling reptilian. And after that, I was very curious about it and explored it. Never thinking I'd ever be channeling them on my own. So that's
That is amazing. And what was your first experience like when you actually channeled a being?
well. To give you a um, well, the earliest times I started connecting to him psychically, that's technically channeling. It's conscious channeling. I connected to a reptilian, and the voice I got back was they weren't very happy with me doing that. It's like you don't know what you're really, you really don't know what you're doing, do you? Or something like that. It's like you really think, oh, the response was you think you're really smart, don't you? That wasn't the response. So it was after that I was really curious. It's like so these guys are real after all, and I connected to Anunnaki, and I felt a presence right standing right next to me, like a 12-foot tall being right next to me. And I looked up
And
online about that. So
okay. And
but yeah,
Ivan,
what happened as for the channeling, I felt the Zetas around me, and I felt like I was on to something as for channeling them, having them enter their energy enter my body as you do a trans channel. I don't really call it that, but so it was the Zeta Greys is really I felt them around. They were very positive, and I channeled my spirit guide, and then it was a Zeta Grey after that.
and it's really unfortunate for them the name that has been created for them, or who knows, created for them by themselves, because this is a being that is the, I guess, the mascot for ETs everywhere on Earth, and they do not have the best following. That's for sure. What do you think they'd have to say about that?
Oh yeah, I mean they. Well, that was the idea for me to to give them another light, give people another you know a doorway into their world. But yeah, they do. They know well because they're unemotional. They're alien to us, so they
Mm-hmm.
don't always know that they're unemotional. So when they connect to us, they don't know that they're causing true harm. They're not trying to, but some of them are. They're doing it for scientific purposes, and they do rough around. So yeah, they are the main. When you connect to aliens, you always see the Zeta. So you can say with me, I'm their spokesperson. I'm their PR person. I guess you could say. So yeah, it's they're trying to clear their name. Let's put it that way. Always have to see it in a different light. Let's put it that way, I guess.
Yes, I understand. And I you did mention the Anunnaki, and I know that this is a being that a lot of some people are familiar with, but they're also confused with the Nephilim or the Nephilim. Could you please discuss them a little bit?
It basically about the Anunnaki is basically what you're. Yeah, they be called different names. The Anunnaki, they are what you see in your. Well, some know about the History Channel. That's probably where they got most popular.
Uh-huh.
It was on his and Zechariah Stitchin, however you pronounce his name. So yeah, that is they are humanoids. Some of them are reptilian looking. They are
Oh,
very powerful. They are more positive ones are here right now. There are negative ones around, but not anymore. Not as much, at least.
kind of like a changing of the guard.
Well, yeah, they've caught us enough, and technically we have their DNA. So,
Yeah,
and they're
apparently we have like many extraterrestrial DNAs. Is that correct?
yeah, I'm not sure of the number. What I'm getting right now is around 32 different types of species in our
Wow.
DNA. So, imagine there's some we can't even don't even have the names for. I imagine.
That's amazing, and it seems like when I get a chance to watch your webinars, which are often, by the way, I say that as if I don't have a whole lot of time, but actually do. Uh, yes, it seems like there's new beings coming in every time. Imagine there's anything from reptiles to canine species to cat species and even mantis beings. Imagine you had a past life, with a mantis being. That is amazing, and I believe that you've been able to channel a mantis being. Right? They're actually pretty funny.
Oh yeah, the one I connect to is Kermit the Mantis. Yes,
Yeah, that's
and
amazing.
some to know who the Zeta Gray is. I didn't mention his name. So, well, he had another name before, but J Rod seems to be the name for the Zeta.
J Rod, that's amazing. And I wonder why he chose that name.
It's catchy compared, the one at Area 51 was called J Rod, so
Oh, that's
most people
interesting.
identify him at least.
So Ivan, with all that being said, what with your experiences, like what messages do you have to tell the world about ETs and spirituality in general? And what do you think that the beings that you channel would like to say to us as well?
But yeah, what's going on is our world, we're becoming more spiritually conscious. And the aliens are here to assist us. They're very spiritual, and they're assisting us to become more spiritual, realize we're not just a body. I mean, yes, we're a soul in a body, yes, but our soul lives forever. This is just only temporary, as you can tell.
Mm-hmm.
That does start to decay after, well, it's always decaying, it seems. But, your spirit lasts forever. And for people to, your aliens are connected to spirit, and they're advanced spiritually. And we are moving in that direction. So, as you can tell, we're in the infancy of that in our society, and so we can all be connected, interconnected. It's like the internet. We're all connected. We just don't realize it, and we're connected to the other side, what you call heaven and God. And the idea behind all this channeling is for us to realize we're more than just the physicality. Yes, it's here. It's very difficult because of financial situations and everything, and with health. But as you connect more spiritually, you find yourself becoming more healthy and more not worrying about money, and you just become more of who you are. So that's basically what all this is about: is becoming more who you are and not be controlled by negativity, and find more of your spiritual soul center, basically. that
Yeah.
you are that you are infinite. There's no limitations. Here we have limitations. There is no limitations when you connect to spirit.
Yeah, I can definitely resonate with that. And Ivan, for the listeners of the show who really want to connect with spirit but are struggling within themselves and within their belief systems, within their social constraints. Um, what would you say to them, those who are really troubled about channeling or going to psychics or reading the tarot deck or even reading astrology?
How to go about this? How to meditate would be one way to begin. There's there's many metaphysical. It's called metaphysics, basically.
Mm-hmm.
We have stones, and it's metaphysical education, basically,
Yeah.
and that is the way to explore all these things. Meditation is the first. I mean, you can find them free meditations online,
Mm-hmm.
and meditation is that's how I started channeling, was through meditation. All my psychic abilities started up. I did a meditation that activated much of it. So, and for everyone to realize you have guides around you. You do have angels around you, so you're never alone. Many think they're alone, and you might want to rethink that. So when you connect to metaphysics, you will see all these things. But it will take time for many to fully grasp all of this, of course.
Yes, because I imagine there's a whole lot of fear-based
Oh, yes.
upbringing that is involved with their surroundings, and what do you say about the people who are like, I'd like to explore more about spirituality or aliens, but I've always been taught it's the devil. What do you say to them?
Well, everyone has their own journey, so it's different for everybody. To call on God, to call on your spirit guides, your angels, whoever you trust. Let's put it that way. Whoever you trust, always use the white light of the Holy Spirit or the white light of God, however you want to call it. To surround yourself with light, and to go. You don't always have to go about this alone. You can go with others to explore more of this, but you're exploring yourself. So if you feel like you can't do this alone because you're scared, well, it'd be good to be with a group with someone that's not scared and see what happens with them. Most likely it'd be positive, as long as they don't have fear. Yes, the more fear you have, yes, you will attract negative beings. But also, if you know you'll be fine, you will be fine also. But yes, it is good to be spiritually responsible, as you call it, spiritually, like, responsible. As for drinking, as for driving a car, we have to be spiritually responsible, because you never know what's around you either. But always surround yourself with the white light, and it'd be good to be around somebody that knows what they're doing.
Yes.
As you explore more of this, as you go further into it. Meditation can't go wrong with that. But as you connect more, it would be good to have somebody as a trainer. It depends. It's different for everybody. But
Yes.
there is a good reason why to be afraid of this.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of dark out there, but there's also a lot of good. There's most good than bad. The bad do try to trick you as being positive, so you gotta be careful. You gotta know what you're doing.
Yes, and there's a lot of
There's a
conflicting
lot of stuff,
information.
yes.
So
Especially with
it's
religions. Yes.
yes, especially with religions, and that's sad because that's the what people go to kind of connect to a degree with themselves spiritually. Unfortunately, there's a lot of structures. There's a lot of kind of things that block them from expanding more, and that's unfortunate.
Yes.
And so another thing I wanted to discuss with you is not only ETs, but just like the infiniteness, which is our universe, our galaxy, our Earth. I understand that there's a land underneath our Earth called Agartha, that fairies exist, mermaids exist, that dolphins connect to us, and all that wonderful stuff. It's like the possibilities are endless, and people don't know it. It's so sad.
Yeah, Gartha's in another dimension. It is. They can go in and out of different dimensions, but fairies do exist. Santa Claus exists. I know this is all just, some people are just rolling their eyes, but
That is okay.
everything, everything in our culture mermaids, any kind of fairy, any kind of what is it, trolls and the actual trolls. All of those exist in Agartha. Giants exist, and it's a paradise. Obviously, it's not, parts of it aren't always paradise. It's like your Middle Earth, like you see in your Lord of the Rings, but it's more
Yeah.
positive, very positive. But people are attracted to these things as for fiction, but they think it's just fiction. But where do you think it's all coming from?
It's coming from
Especially,
reality.
you go on and on.
Isn't it interesting how all of these things are put in front of us in our movies and
Yes.
all kinds of things are some radio shows of old and TV programming, but you're told it's fantasy and it's not real.
Yes.
That is so sad.
Yes, it's Star Wars. Look how I mean, people just, their whole lives are about Star Wars. I mean, come on, you're in a world, in a universe. You think we're all here all by ourselves? Might want to rethink that.
It's actually pretty sad to be conditioned to believe that we're the only show in town, like I was saying the other day, and especially for those people who don't feel like they're from here,
Yes.
and they're stuck here, and then
Yes.
when they're done here, that they're not going anywhere else.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
That's pretty sad. So, Ivan, I wanted to set aside a little time, and this was just in case you had any friends of yours that are around you that had like a burning desire to tell our listening viewers from sportsovertime.com and Off the Deep End anything they think that we'd like to know.
okay for me to channel somebody. Basically, is what you're saying.
Yes, or if they're just coming in and you wanted to share whatever knowledge you wanted to share with
Okay.
them consciously, that's fine as well.
Well, one thing that came to mind before we go into that,
Okay.
for those that feel like I want to see an alien, I want to see all this.
Mhm.
It's like they won't show themselves to us because we can't handle it yet. We're not there.
Mhm.
We're too much. We're not spiritually connected at all for the most part. Some of us are, but not enough.
Mhm.
It needs to be like 50% of the population or 80% of the population to be spiritually connected without negativity for them to appear to us. So they're in a higher density level. They are here. They're everywhere in a positive way, of course.
Yes, and then I
So
also understand. And when you say we, we're not just talking about the United States. We're talking about the entire human
yes,
collective, and also these beings will often not come to you unless they feel welcomed, unless they feel invited, and until the Earth as a whole comes together and just kind of steps outside of the box and starts looking out and inviting things in. We
yes,
probably won't see a mass visitation, and probably definitely not a Independence Day visitation either, by the
not at
way.
all.
So
No,
more fear.
that's just to build up fear. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Is there anything else that you wanted to add, Ivan?
no, yeah, I have another. Yeah, there's a being here right now. His name is Ishta. It's a blue Pleiadian. They just showed up, spiritually showed up.
And can I describe them real quick? When he says a blue Pleiadians, they look very much like us. They're a humanoid being, and they come in different colors and sizes, kind of like we do, and they're high dimensional extraterrestrials.
Yeah, they're slightly different. They haven't gone into facial features how different, but this one's around 6 feet tall.
Oh.
So that I know. So they have short ones, but they also have tall ones.
Oh, okay.
This
Just
is the
like
taller
us.
one. From what I'm gathering. It is very important for him to be here. So, if you like, I can connect to him.
Oh, yes, please. Yeah, welcome.
Okay, if you just be a second, I have to go into a slight meditation, so I might
Yeah. And
do
he has
some
the floor.
breathing. Okay, all right, be a couple, maybe about a minute. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Greetings.
Greetings.
I'm Ishta. Blessings. Hello there.
Welcome. Welcome, Ishta.
Yes, I'm a blue Pleiadian connected to the Galactic Federation of Light. We're here to say hello.
Hello and welcome. Welcome to sportsovertime.com and Off the Deep End. We're so happy you're here.
Thank you for having us. And there's several of us here
Awesome.
wishing to connect to you, happy to connect to you.
Thank you, Ishta. You have the floor. Please say whatever it is you'd like to say to us.
Realize we are a Pleiadian race, yes, blue in skin, but we look pretty much identical to your humans. We are at a distance from you at this time because as you have a blue person apparel on your planet, I don't think that's going to go too well for your society. You're not used to that, but we do look identical to you other than our color. There are different types of Pleiadians that have not been mentioned. Well, I'm with the Galactic Federation of Light, and you are getting close. You still have some time, but you are getting close to being accepted into the Galactic Federation of Light, where you can see and connect to all species in this universe. But first, this Earth has to know what it is first. And if you want to get along more also, you are on your way. But to realize we are here as friends and to assist you in how to become more spiritual and how to connect to us in a positive manner. But we are here as assistants. And we love you very much. And yes, it is part of the Mayan calendar. As soon as your 2012 came by, around your December, yes.
Oh, that's amazing.
The connections opened. Somehow more aliens can connect to you. You all put that on your calendars. It's like the Mayan calendar 2012. This is when we're going to have our awakening. Yes. A spiritual new age. And many are seeing it now, and many more. It is just when your time is ready. It is like a candle. It will just light up within yourself. It's like, now I am ready to connect to what is out there. In your entertainment, many of our alien energies are in your entertainment, which we find fascinating. And how about connecting to the real being that inspired that entertainment? And you call your Star Wars, Star Trek, and all those others in your video games and such. But if you have questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
You mentioned how humanity basically put it on our calendar to kind of start opening up spiritually at the end of 2012. When you mentioned that, is that kind of like an end of a contract? Can you describe that a little further?
Yes, well, during your time of Atlantis, now different species have different versions of this story.
Okay.
But during your time of Atlantis, your society went to sleep. It became consciously connected. It is like we're ready to learn more from this world. And to do that, we must forget. And to do this, your Atlantis went to the bottom of your ocean. And many of your souls here went into hibernation, as for spiritual hibernation.
Oh.
And yes, every world has this. Now, different worlds are different. Some do not go to sleep like yours did. Yours was an exception. Many do not go in that direction. Some do start out in third density and go into fourth. You were started off in fourth density. Some will say 5 or 6 density, where you're very connected to spirit. But when you went into third density after Atlantis went down and many other events happened, all this, you went to third density forgetting your spiritual selves. And yes, many worlds have this, where you have a place, a time in your world when you go to sleep, and a time when you wake up. You are now in your wake-up phase at this time. Every world has this. I say every world, but not... See, I have to change that. Not every world has that, but ones like this one do. This one is it's a mishmash of different types of species, as you can tell, seeing how your animals on your planet are very unique. And many of your animals on your planet all have an alien species connected to it, especially all of them. Your insectoids, you imagine a 6-foot ant walking around. They do exist. I want to put that out there for you. Thank you.
and cockroaches as well.
Oh
People.
yes, those two. Yes, somebody would enjoy to see one of those.
Yes, I understand some people in the spiritual community are still trying to stomach that one.
Yes, that one's a take a time to stomach that one. They will. They would rather see a talking giraffe than see a talking cockroach.
There's actually very spiritual cockroach beings, people.
Of course.
Don't knock it until you try it. And I have another question for you. In our was it necessary as part of our descendants in dimensions to also be very much against spirituality? It's kind of like we lost our spirituality, but then we're also against it and people who were spiritual, and kind of go after people like Jesus and you know other types of, I guess, what are known as ascended masters.
Yes, they want to stay. Those that attack, like your Jesus, they wish to stay in the dimension that they are in. They do not want to be taken out of it. That is why you have violence against those like your Jesus. But if Jesus was not crucified, he would have awakened the world more than anyone have ever realized. It would have been quite a show. And in some timelines, he did.
Oh, that's really
So,
interesting.
with this, yes, it is true. Many, even during now, some say, "Oh, aliens do exist. I have proof." But many are not ready, and they want to experience this 3D reality. They don't want an alien in their reality yet. They're not ready for it.
Oh, that's very interesting. And I understand that a lot of your species was part in the seeding of our planet. What kind of emotional or characteristics could be described as a person who comes from your race?
Some would say it's just different for everyone. Sometimes our DNA connects with different people in different ways. Some would say through song, through kind of the love emotion comes from the Pleiadians.
Hmm.
Your attraction to others can be quite intense at times, and much of that is very Pleiadian. Now you have your as for partnerships, as for relationships, intimate relationships, much of that is Pleiadian contribution to your evolution. We play a big part in keeping many of your species together. As for love mates, whatever sexuality you choose, whichever preference you choose, it does not matter.
Mm.
And you are experiencing that in your world where sexuality does not matter anymore. At one time it did. It's like, oh, it must be only one way. Well, there's now you are becoming, your world is becoming more alien now, as you can tell.
Yeah. So you guys are kind of like also our hopeless romantics.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Oh well, thank you for your contributions. They're much appreciated.
That might not always be what we would hear from some, but yes, thank you.
You are so welcome. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell us today?
Only that we are, yes, as your Hollywood says, we come in peace. But we're waiting for you to become peaceful. The more peaceful you are to each other, to your family, to your friends, to your neighbors, the more likely you will see us around. You do see us in your skies. That is as
Yeah.
far as we can go. As for channeling, we're allowed to do this. And even some say, oh, that's not real. It's like, even if you see a picture of a real alien, still, there's so much skepticism around that.
Yeah, you kind
You,
of like rationalize not having seen
yes.
it.
Your skeptics are quite fascinating. They have good reason to make sure we're not on their planet. Many do not want us here. They've had enough of the aliens. They've had enough lifetimes where it was not easy being an alien. They come to a world where there's no aliens at all. They made sure when they reincarnate on a world, no alien's going to be in my life. I can just go watch my television and go to my job, whatever it might be, as long as there's not an alien in my existence. I can watch them on TV. That is fine. But I haven't one in my life. I'm not sure if I want that again.
That's really interesting. So it's kind of like in some people's plans not to have
Yes.
ETs in their life.
There's many of those here.
Uh
As you
huh.
can see, there is many.
That's really interesting. And one other question I wanted to ask you
Yes.
is uh, if you were to describe a historical character who had a predominance of your genetic background, who would that be?
One moment. As for one of your fame,
Yes.
one would be one that come up just as you were saying. That would be Napoleon.
Oh, Napoleon. Huh.
Of course, you have many in your history, but
Yes.
that one, he was very alien. He was very connected. Yes, not a perfect person, not at all. But he was well aware of what was around him, though.
Yes.
I mean, yes, maybe saw him as he just knew that he came here very alien. Yes, he was not. He was very flawed, as you can tell.
Right.
But he knew very at a young age, actually, that we weren't given. Humanity was not ready, but what you were being sold was not the true story as for what was currently going on.
Wow.
So he connected to many of our energies, and this is why he accomplished what he accomplished. Of course, it might not have always been the most positive.
Mm-hmm.
And
but he was an excellent strategist.
Yes, and many of your government also are connected to our energies. Many musicians are connected to the Andromedans. Well, they are Pleiadian also, but many of your music comes from Andromeda.
Which one of our performers would you describe as more Pleiadian or Andromedan?
Your Aerosmith is very Pleiadian.
I could see that.
Your Ray Charles is very Pleiadian.
I could see that too.
There are more, of course.
Yes, apparently they, like you said, they account for much of our yes. performers and entertainers. That's really amazing. And what about our politicians? Would you describe as Donald Trump as a Pleiadian, or Hillary Clinton as a Pleiadian, or Bernie Sanders?
They have. Oh, I want to add one more to your music list.
Okay,
because this one came to mind. Your Justin Bieber. He is actually very Arcturian. They have music. His music is coming from an Arcturian point of view and a Pleiadian point of view. He is both.
That is really interesting.
So, he is not obviously not connected to that, but he will eventually when he feels comfortable. He will see himself on Pleiadian worlds, but also see himself as an Arcturian on Arcturian worlds with many Pleiadians around him. He's a partier.
Party
that
animal.
Is for sure.
Yes.
That's where that comes from, actually.
From the Pleiades?
Yes, from the Pleiades. You brought much of the
people.
You brought much of the partying to the Arcturians, it seems. You brought the Pleiadians to them, it seems.
Wow, so he is really important.
Yes, well, everyone is.
Everyone is, yeah.
But to go back into your discussion of your politicians, yes, all of your politicians, yes, have Pleiadian DNA. Your Hillary Clinton has much Anunnaki DNA.
I can see that.
Much of that. Your Bernie Sanders, he is so Pleiadian, yes.
Yeah.
He is very, very, very Pleiadian, not to go into political issues, but he is very Pleiadian. Your Donald Trump has much reptilian and Pleiadian.
Yeah, I could kind of see that with him. I can see both sides.
Yes.
He's kind of like a Sour Patch Kid.
Well, technically, we all are. You all have different types of being. You're all connected. It depends on your past lives how much reptilian you have and how much Arcturian you have.
That's really interesting.
You all are born with different amounts of different species.
What would you say humanity is? I mean, I understand we're like a big variety and stuff, but what percentage of humanity would you say is your race?
As for Pleiadian percentage, one moment. I'm being told to say 30% at this time.
Well, that's a good percentage, judging from the conversation we had.
Yes.
That's amazing. Another thing is how you said we are close. How close do you think we are? I think that some of us in Miami think we're pretty close because not too long ago there's this big purple thing hovering over what looked like a I don't know if that was a mall or whatever that was, but it was like a big purple, pinkish, violet, huge dish looking thing. just hanging out over a look like a mall. Do you know what that was about?
Yes, that was from the Pleiadians. It is an anomaly
Yay!
in your sky that had much of our energies there. It was, in some ways, you can say, saying hello to your society. It happens every once in a while. Yes, we work with your Earth
Uh-huh.
to change to the chemicals in your Earth. We can adapt it to our energies and to make formations in your skies to give you
Oh,
a easier version of that.
that's awesome.
Non-technical.
Do you clean up some of our chemtrails too?
We do that, yes. Others, your Weirens, your cat people do that very often. But yes, we are involved with that too. Yes.
That is amazing. Well, Ishta, thank you so much for
Yes.
for visiting us, and it's an honor speaking with you. And if there's anything else that you'd like to say before we close, you're more than welcome to.
Just blessings to all of you. You are all in some ways connected to the Pleiadians. We were all alien, and for you to realize how alien you truly are. Many of you are very Martian. Is to find what feels right to you. You will find your alien ancestors. What resonates with you. And your alien ancestors will come to you very clearly.
Well, that is really heartwarming,
Yes.
and I look forward to maybe a visit from you, Ishta, in my future meditations.
That would be a definite yes. As for physical visitation, that is, you never know.
Well, I look forward to anything from you guys. Thank you so much, and
Yes.
we'll talk soon.
Yes, blessings to you.
Blessings to you.
Whoa.
Hello, Ivan. Thank
Yes.
you for visiting us. Thank you for blessing us with Ishta's presence. We're gonna wrap up our show in a few minutes, but before we do, could you please tell us how we can find you?
Yes, you can find it at ivanteller.com, where you can book a private session. You can also, if you have just a question, you can always book that also. It's done by audio. It's delivered by audio. And you can also go to YouTube and just do a search for Ivan Teller, and you'll be see I usually post a video a day, so for the
Uh,
most part. Right now,
yeah,
at
that's
least.
right. You do have a lot of good videos that you post out for our knowledge, and but you also have an app, right? And
Oh yes.
spiritual network as well. A page on a spiritual network. Could you tell us about that as well?
Oh yes, yeah. I have a. If you go to the App Store on Android or iOS on the iPhone or the Android, you search for Ivan Teller. You find I have a web app. It has the link to everything. As for schedules, if I update it, it has the videos on there from YouTube and also an audio of the webinars. And I have a webinar, 2 webinars a week, every week. They usually go around an hour, hour and a half. Anybody can join that. Of course, they have a membership to join that. It's only $10 a month.
Mhm.
Yes, and we have a spiritual community called worldorigins.net.
And also, Ivan has his T-shirt line too, and I think you have your own brand now that I've noticed. It's got a really cool brand logo. It's called We Are Spirit, and I'm about to buy a shirt myself.
Yeah, we are spirit. You can call it like a movement. It's like we are all spirit. So that seemed like you know, feel like a good idea to. It's one of the things I'm playing around with right now. So yeah, it seems to be. But yeah, you can go to Ivan Teller. Just do a search for Ivan Teller Spreadshirt.com, and you'll find the shirts there. Or you just go to ivanteller.com. You'll find the shirts there.
Okay. Thank you, Ivan. Thank you for spending time with us and sharing your knowledge of all that is and the infinite galaxy. We really appreciate it, and we hope to have you on the show soon.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
very
for having me.
much.
Much love.
Much love to you.